Greetings, good listeners. Welcome to Saturday morning cartoons. On a Saturday, would you look at that? On a Saturday morning. Um, so this, if you've been watching, I've put out 2 episodes so far on under this Saturday morning cartoon banner. Um, One was on a Wednesday and then a Thursday, now a Saturday. And this is my version of a ancestral live talk show. Um, and basically, the format is like a talk show opening monologue, and then I interview an ancestor from my ancestor's writer's room. And that's basically me channeling, right? Um, and offering whatever medicine and message wants to come through today, specifically for the purpose of this larger mission that I've been, stewarding um, through this campaign that I'm running that is about what and how do we need to be today in order to evolve into the freedom on our planet and in our lives, in our lifetime that we so desire and long for, and freedom in terms of the sincere desire for freedom in our bones, which isn't, thriving in capitalism. It is about rebirthing um, a planet of mass Earth stewardship, which we're not really doing right now, are we? On a mass scale. So that's that. And today in this opening monologue, I just want to maybe give you some behind the scenes, or just kind of speak what's on my mind right now in terms of what I'm offering because yeah, I when I thought of this Saturday morning cartoon idea, I was so excited and I love this idea like a talk like an ancestral talk show. Like yes, that is totally um exactly what I want to do. And I've been kind of reflecting on how I felt, these last doing 2 episodes so far, and just trying to play around with basically like I'm trying to figure out how to be more on social media more often in a way that I really enjoy and that feels really aligned. And so that's why I was like, let me try this out and see how it goes. And I'm not sure, even though I love this idea after this first kind of week, I'm like, I don't know if this is really the best. I don't know if it's right now, right? It's the idea is yes, but is it right now? I don't know. And so I'm still trying to figure out that. Um, and it kind of goes along to what I was saying in the last video about the difference between running a business and running a not so business as usual. And I loved so much of what came out of that transmission around, this shift of it's not really about um, running a business is about investing in people's offerings and services and products, right? But running a not so business as usual is about training ourselves and remembering ourselves in order to begin investing in each other as community members, right? As this is who I am, and this is, the place on the healing journey and the larger creative process that I am stewarding right now. And that's what we're investing in because we're investing in ourselves in that way, and we learn to invest in each other in that way too. Um, and then what happens is that whatever business or products or services or uh, yeah, offerings that come out of that become an expression of the rituals, the protocols, the initiations, the gateways that are specific to our ancestors and our ancestral lineage, and how they want to express themselves, and how they know how to be earth stewards on this planet. And it's not about doing things like them, it is about collaborating with them to do things in a way that makes sense for our current reality, right? So I just like, I loved how that came through. I loved how um, just that click in terms of that's really the language that, lights me up, when I think of what is it exactly, and not so business as usual. It is an expression of the way of life. Um, and in that sense, it's like, I'm not sure, right? Like, I'm not actually sure if this series is exactly like the most precise, refined, like needed or appropriate version of what the expression of the ritual protocol is right now, right? I know the intention is to get out on social media more. And really behind that is like me finding my way back to community. Um, from a, and the thing is, because I know how to get on the internet on YouTube and channel readings. I know how to channel. I know how to do that, right? But I'll tell you, part of why I'm in this space of such discernment, and sometimes can get into a little bit of a hypervigilance and defensiveness, but it's a really strong like energy of protection that I have right now, which I know my ancestors like, you can relax on that. Like, we got the protection. We got it. You relax and just do your thing. But I'm like, but I'll tell you, because I'll tell you, by one of the exclusive podcast episodes I'm writing right now, and one of them that I'm working on right now, which is for VIP members. It's called Turns Out My Rage Was a Dragon After All, and what it means to funnel your offerings into poverty versus wealth, right? And so I went through this real deep kind of journey with my ancestors, where I saw like, oh, just this very like intricate way that the way my previous business was functioning, it was actually in a very almost deceptive way, right? Like funneling me into further poverty versus funneling me into a business that will truly funnel you into your wealth and your ancestral wealth, and a reciprocity of this, a reciprocity of your medicine, basically. Um, and so I'm just, all to say, I'm really like, I don't want to repeat the things in the past that have hurt me so deeply in community. And that kind of involves like the funnels into poverty, and that means not just financial poverty, but other kinds of poverty as well, right? Um, and I'm really like, I'm not doing that again. And ancestors are like, it's okay, you got this, you're not there anymore. And yet I'm still like hyper vigilant about it, because it was so painful, and I'm not doing that again. And there is actually the energies that would want to suck me back into that are still a present. They're still like, hey, let's get Shanga back in there. We love for the Shanga to be back in there. So that's that's that, right? And I think the other thing that I wanted to say, um, just in reflection, is uh, it's the time period we're in right now. Last time I mentioned that, we're in this end of life phase of Pluto and Capricorn. Like, that's just cosmically where we are. We are in an end of life phase collectively. And individuals may be in their various kinds of end of life phases. Um, but collectively, that's where we are. And the thing about, and me personally, I'm also in a astrological transit called Pluto square Pluto. I'm actually in the last little push of it, which is like, yay. It's kind of a tough transit. But the thing about Pluto square Pluto as a personal transit, and then in the midst of this larger like Pluto and Capricorn um ending, is that it is a death portal, right? It's a death portal and it's a birthing portal. Like we are in the womb of Pluto and Aquarius, and we're also in the death of Pluto and Capricorn. And the thing to know about like when you're in a death portal, like it's normal and natural to try and search for clarity, and just let me find the thing that is the thing, and let me just put that on the ground, and then I'll be okay. We're looking for stability, right? Whether it's in our relationships or in our financials, or whatever, our offerings, our business. And we're in a death portal. Like it's just clarity isn't actually what you get here. It's not what this portal is meant for. Because things are you're still unearthing, and things are changing, and things are dying, and things are rebirthing. It's just like this very much like tilling the soil thing, right? You're just not going to get clarity here. And we're searching for anchoring, and we're searching for ground, and it's just not here because the ground is getting um, tilled, it's getting pulled up and over. And so, really, what is it then that you're supposed to find here? It's heart. That's really what what it is here, and what you're supposed to move with. You're supposed to move with heart. You move with heart, and you move with strength, strength of spirit and strength of heart. And that is where you get clarity, right? That is your ground, that is your anchor. In a moment like this, that is your anchor. It's your strength of heart and your strength of spirit. And that's really all it is. Um, and I do feel emotional talking about that, because we're in literally like 2024 is the year of strength. It's number 8. And like that's my, in numerology, that's my number. That's my name. It's my life path number. So if you add up the numbers of your name, you get your life path number. And mine is 8. It's strength. And that is like, it's not actually an easy life path number to have, because it indicates that you have things that you will need strength to endure in your life. You know what I mean? Like you've chosen a life where you're being asked to meet that strength of heart and strength of spirit, because that to me is what the strength card in tarot, or the spirit of strength, really is about. It's not about this much like patriarchal kind of strength. It's about strength of heart and strength of spirit. Um, and I say I'm emotional talking about that because I really entered into this year feeling like this is my year, right? Because it's my name, right? It's my life path number. And the year is almost like we're in the last stretch of the year, and I'm looking back into it, and I feel like fuck, like so many things didn't go the way that I wanted it to go, and there's so many things that I'm like, well, where did the year go? It almost feels like that. It feels like, well, what the fuck did I do this year? You know what I mean? Um, but I think that at the end of the day, it was exactly the year that I needed. Maybe not how I expected, but it is exactly what I needed. And the most important thing for me, I know, is that can I just find that every day? This strength of heart and strength of spirit to say, like, can I just focus on what really matters? every day, no matter what is around me. That is what you do in a death portal. You have to find what that is. Um, what really matters. Can I receive what really matters? Can I experience what really matters? Can I focus on what really matters? And that's the most beautiful year that you can have. Um, I mean, a year like that will show you such deep, deep beauty found in some of the most internal places. And it does give you the strength to experience whatever the fuck comes next. So that's kind of where I'm at. And so I'm gonna keep kind of feeling out like how these lives are going and if I want to continue them. And I gave myself the month of September to try it out. So I'll see. Sometimes I change my mind, even if I say I'm gonna do something, but I'm here today. And I want to talk to a fictional character today. Um, so that's my opening monologue. Now I want to talk to a fictional character. And that's kind of like the heart of what Saturday morning cartoons is all about, right? Like that's kind of where the first inspiration came from is my like practice in um working with fictional characters as sovereign spirits and as ancestors themselves. Um and that's like one of the things that most excites me um about the world that I steward here at Otherworldly Giants. So for this last little for this interview portion of this talk show, I'm gonna show you a tarot deck that I work with, which is a clairvoyant tarot deck, which means it's just in the etheric realm. And so I just, it's like pulling cards, but I pull cards out of my third eye, out of this deck that lives in my third eye. And one of the decks that I use is just like a regular Otherworldly Giants deck, and one of the decks I use is a Buffy deck. Okay, so that's one of my favorite fictional characters, favorite fictional stories, is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I'm gonna pull a card right now from this Buffy Clairvoyant Tarot deck, and I'm gonna see what message comes up. And we'll just, yeah, kind of, you'll see how this tarot deck kind of works in action. Um, and that'll be our interview portion. All right, so let me just tune into that. Buffy Clairvoyant Tarot deck. And I also have like actually a Buffy tarot deck here that I can pull from as well, but we're gonna pull from the Clairvoyant tarot deck first. Okay. Mm. Okay, shuffling cards, shuffling cards. Pull a card for me. Oh, where are we going today? Oh, okay. Ugh. Okay, we're talking to Anya, the Vengeance Demon. Okay, so right away I went to, they showed me an episode from season three called The Wish. Um, and it's like, okay, if you know Anya, she's a vengeance demon. So we first meet her in season three, and Cordelia is like, so does that mean you're like an ugly, scary, good fairy who grants wishes? She basically grants wishes to scorned woman, and she gets like, she takes revenge on the men who have wronged these scorned women. And so you can, when you're heartbroken, say you go through a breakup or someone cheated on you or whatever, and you're heartbroken, then the vengeance demon shows up because she can feel your rage. She can feel the need for vengeance. She can feel the need for justice. Um, and she comes and she's like, "What do you want me to do?" And and so then you'll be like, "I wish that he, grows scales all over his body, and then the vengeance demon will be like done, and then that happens, right? So that's in a nutshell Anya. And I actually have a podcast episode that I did all on Anya, and it is kind of looking at like the difference between what is vengeance and what is justice, and kind of going through Anya's story in that. So the scene that I'm seeing is in this episode, and sorry, we're gonna kind of do we're gonna do general spoilers. I'm just gonna talk about the show. In this episode, Cordelia wishes that Buffy has, like, Buffy never came to Sunnydale in the first place, the protagonist. And when she makes this wish, and Anya's like, done, the whole world changes. Okay? And it's worse. It's much, much worse. We find out. And at the end, some of the main characters, including Giles, Buffy's watcher, they're like trying to fix the world. They're trying to change the world. Um, and back to something better. And it's right at that moment of confrontation between Anya and Giles and this like vengeance demon versus this watcher. And he's about to change the world back to what it used to be, to how it's supposed to be. And Anya's like, how do you know that that world is any better than this one? And Giles is like, because it has to be. Boom. And then it's like it's such an iconic moment. It's one of my favorite moments in the series. And that's the tarot card I'm seeing. I'm seeing Anya right here, and she's saying, "How do you know that world is any better than what this is?" And Giles is like, "Because it has to be." It's one of my favorite moments because just those few words that Giles says, because it has to be, 5 words, it just speaks to like the life path of faith, right? Like it's when you have no idea what is going to be on the other side of a death portal, say, you have no idea what's going to be on the other side. You have no idea what the other world is going to be. You just have faith that you know it's not this one. You know it's not this one. And you take that leap of faith. And so what he does right after there, he's like smashes this like necklace or whatever, and that like breaks the spell, and then they go back to how the world is supposed to be. And this vengeance demon is sitting here right now, and she's like, well, how the fuck do you know? You could be making the world worse by choosing this right now. But the truth is that she knows that world is better, but she just doesn't want to die. Because if he breaks her spell, that means that she failed as a vengeance demon, and that will have consequences on her, right? So she's not actually concerned with whether or not the world will be better or not. She's concerned with not dying and not experiencing the consequences of failing. Like, she has this larger vision. She knows that it's better. But she's using a particular narrative to um, touch on a vulnerable spot in Giles. Even though she has a completely different motivation. But she's using that because maybe there's some part of Giles that believes or has lack of faith, right? She's trying to pull out that little strand of doubt. Okay? Like look at how relevant this, like, look, I love this fucking tarot deck. Look, it points to exactly what I was talking about in an earlier podcast episode called Have You Ever Been Loved the Way That You Really Want to Be Loved? And that's talking about how if we are truly, truly in the heart of stewarding these major changes toward freedom on the planet today, we will have to get used to the fact that we are calling and praying and birthing into something that we have never experienced before. We have never been loved the way that we are asking each other and ourselves to love oneself and to love each other. We have never experienced that before because we have never experienced widespread earth stewardship before. And that means like and what I was talking about in that episode was like when we are in that prayer, we have to reckon with the smallest seeds of doubt that any of this could be possible, right? Because it's like, well, I've never been loved by community like that before. I've never been loved in intimacy like that before. Nobody has. So we have to reckon with the fact that we're like, we can't rely on our lived experience to give us faith. We can't. We have to rely on a different kind of faith to do this with one another. And I think that's long term, and I think that's today. I think that message is for long term, and I think it's also about today. That we cannot rely on the faith of our lived experience. Well, these are all the blueprints. This is all the ways that it has been done before. We have to rely on a different kind of faith. And so, what is it in Giles in that moment that that grounds into that? What in his bones does he find where he's like, this vengeance demon is like, how do you know that the choice you make today is going to be and is going to lead to anything better? Like you could be making it worse. And he's like, I just know in my bones that this has to be different. It's not supposed to be like this. And so I'm going to take the move. I'm going to take the risk. I know what choice leads me down to that world. And I know what choice leads me to clinging to what is familiar. So I'm going to go right now where I know that new world is, even if I don't know what it's like, even if I don't have any idea um, how I'm going to experience it, like, or what it'll give me. Like, I just know. So I want us to sit with that. And it's about like I think we're talking about the realm of the mind right now. We're talking about Anya's sort of coming up as this tarot card right now to remind us that we have that vengeance demon. We have that vengeance demon in our minds who's like, how do you know? But we have to remind ourselves that like that narrative has a different motivation. It's not actually concerned with the conversation that it's having. Does that make sense? It's having a conversation with you about doubt and faith and how do you know that this is um going to be better or not. But that's not its motivation. Its motivation that it already knows that it's better on the other side. It already knows. But it's like, well, if I let you believe that, then what's going to happen to me? I'm going to have to go through a death portal. I'm going to have to transform myself. I'm going to have to lose my vengeance demon status and become a human and then learn how to be a human. And I'm going to have to die as a human. And then we have this part of us that's like, well, I have to become human. If you look at Anya's whole journey, right? Like Anya's journey is about humanity. It's about someone who doesn't know how to be a human learning how to be a human. And I talk about that in this podcast episode. It's called Self-Full. It's back episode 4, I believe. Self-Full, this is your brave new start. Like that's all this is about, right? It's about us as humans who are kind of emulating Anya right now. We're like, we have never known how to be humans. Not really. We've been indoctrinated into these extractive systems that set out to genocide and enslave and just numb out our spirits and disconnect us from what is really important in life. And we are taking that back right now. We have to learn how to be human, like what it really means to be a human, what it really means to be a human earth steward here. And it's amazing that like Anya's journey really represents that. And so here we're having this tension, right, between this part of us that is like being really chatty about shit that actually is not the conversation. The conversation is that like I actually just like don't want to fucking die, but that is what it means to be human. That is the process of being human is dying over and over again, and it is the most it it's worth it. It's about heart, right? To be human is about living heartfully. Um, and because this part of us, this little thing of doubt doesn't want to die, it's like targeting that vulnerability, targeting the part of us that's like being tested in our faith walk, right? A friend of mine said that to me recently in a session. It's like, Shanga, this is about your faith walk. Not really. I'm not about religion, but in terms of what that means to me spiritually, this moment is about your faith walk. It's about those 5 words because it has to be, and I already know that it is. So let's just end with I want to pull out one more just card to supplement this reading. All right, Buffy Tarot, what do you got for me? Bottom of the deck. Ah, 2 of Cups, synchronized slaying, Faith and Buffy. I got this one reversed. What is this? Is that a 6? Yeah, 6 of Stakes. Stakes is the wands, right? That's victory. That's victory. In traditional tarot decks, the this is like the 6 of Wands, which is like celebration, victory, like you did it. You did it. And I love this card because it's like um it's you know, it's a slayer practicing on this dummy, like practicing killing vampires with stakes, and you see that like they didn't really get the heart at any point. So, yes, this is a victory, and yes, it's messy, right? We're talking about a death portal, right? So it's messy, it's not clear, like we're figuring things out, but there's heart, right? And there's victory here um, in the heart and the spirit of how we move through this time. And I look, third eye. Okay, I was like, I wonder if they got the chakras. Not really, not really. I'm like trying to figure out one, two, three, four, five, six. There's one in the what is that? The right leg. So that's like the masculine side. Third eye. Um, it's surrounding the heart. You're protecting the heart. Look, the there's something about that. There's something about the way the stakes are thrown here. It's like they're protecting they're circling the heart. I don't know, there's something there, circling the heart. um yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is Like, celebrate your messy victories. Celebrate your victories even if it's like not quite the bullseye, right? Like you're in it, you're around it. Like keep going, keep going, keep going. And this one is like the bottom of the deck is like this is about intimacy. It's about relationships. It's like this moment in Buffy and Faith's journey is like they're just so in sync. They're so in sync and they're just better together, right? Like they're better slayers together. They're just like killing it on their patrols every night. Um, it's like a choreographed dance, Two of Cups, right? So victory, right? We did it. We're doing it. Do it together. Enjoy your collaborations, your relationships, your friends. Enjoy the people who you're doing it with. Even if that's your ancestors, even if it's a non-human relationship. And I'm gonna end that there because it is a beautiful day astrologically. Jupiter and Venus are coming together in the sky, and according to Chatty Nicholas, it is the most romantic day of the year. This is romance for Buffy and Faith, by the way. Um, so do something to celebrate that. Do something to celebrate your beloved, whoever that is for you today, whether it's you, yourself, and you, whether it's a person or a non human relationship, your, kid, um, your family, your home, the neighborhood that you're in. Do something to beautify your life today. And remember, we have already won. And that's from my latest podcast episode. So um, I am going to, at some point, put all the links in the show notes so you can check out my website and my podcast if you haven't and get caught up on all the episodes and join the VIP Backstage Pass if you want those exclusive episodes. Um, and yeah, I I will see you next Wednesday at 11:11 a.m. Peace.